let's go back. So if I go back to config, project, let's view my run parameters. And as you can see, the JDBC mapping file is actually blank. There's also another file that we need to add, which we'll come back to in a minute, which is also the credential file. So credential file is used by each of the components that have a security constraint. So if you're connecting to a third party, for example, a cloud environment, obviously there's security components that you need in order for it to access it. So therefore you need this credentials file. But let's add one at a time. Let's first add where it should find the JDBC mapping file and create it. So let's put it in the config directory. Okay, let's save that. So now IOblend engine will know where to look for it. We need to go and create it. So let's go to config, and here is our JDBC SQL format. Config, let's create a new one. Okay, and I want to put it here. So it will store it there. Let's create a new one. And there we go. So it automatically pulls up the template which comes with IOblend. You shouldn't have to do anything with this other than just save it. The only times you need to make any changes to this is if you're connecting to a database that there isn't already a key value pair listing for it within this template. If that happens, then it's quite straightforward to add that additional information. There will be another video of how to do that. And also you can contact us and we'll be more than happy to help you do that as well. So, okay, let's save that. Okay, that should be saved. So we can confirm that has been saved. If I go into my file explorer, go to my config folder, and there we have the JDBC DB SQL template there. Okay, so that's cool. The credentials file is already there, so I won't bother recreating it. I'll just make sure that we have told IOblend within the run parameter key value pairs where to find it. So let's go back to our parameters and let's copy the directory for the config and make sure that the credentials file, oh, it's already there. Okay, I don't need to do it. Okay, so that's cool. All right, so let's close that down. Right. Okay, so now I've updated the run parameters for the project. Although I've strictly not made any changes to the actual data pipeline itself, just as good practice, let's continue. Before we continue with the run, let's save it again. So therefore we can now run or create a new run window by pressing run. Yes, everything's saved. So let's click OK. So now we've hit run. IOblend engine will be initialized by the IOblend framework. And as per usual, because it's the first time that we're executing it, or it will initialize the IOblend engine and then also Spark framework. While it's doing that, it prints out exactly what's happening in terms of the initialization of the IOblend framework or engine, sorry, in Spark framework, so we know what's going on. Once it's done that, it will go through and start processing the data for us. And this is running really slowly, which indicates that I've got other processes running in the background, but I need to check to see if this runs. And okay, so it's done the transforms. So let's do continue. Okay, so it's saying this is the data that I'm going to write out now to BigQuery. It's asked me, do I want to continue and write that out? So yes, let's continue. Okay, so now it's in the process of writing it out. The first thing it does, it starts up the gateway server and it takes us through what's happening. So first it's creating the table, then it's creating the appropriate view, then it's creating the slowly changing dimension view, creating all constraints, and then finally it does the insert of the data, which will be parallelized. Okay. And so the insert was done successfully. It shows records that have been archived, and now it's shown the new eventing, and also it's just eventing here. So it's showing what records are being archived due to eventing, what records are left in our internal table after the archiving has been done. So those two, and it gives a count of the records it gives accounts of the records which reside or still reside within the internal table. Okay, so we can now go across and have a look at our BigQuery table and make sure it's there, and we'll have a look at what slowly changing dimension looks like. Okay. Just reloading the screen for BigQuery. Right, let's expand this. Okay, so we asked it to create a table called sync watch IOD version 3. So what IOblend will do is it will create a table, a physical table named that but underscore base. Now, all changes to data will reside in here. So this gives us full data lineage because we can see any changes and we capture all changes to the data. We then automatically creates a view sitting on top of it, which is names the table that we asked it to create, which is sync watch IOD version 3. This view, if we query the data, if I've got several records which have been versioned, then it will pull back the latest version. So in most cases, your users will use this view to actually run queries against, and it will pull back just the latest version of the record, which is what they expect to see. Here we have the slowly changing dimension view, which has been generated. So let me just open that up, and we can have a look at the query. So we can have a look at what's inside it. Okay, so as we did expect, we've got the columns which are inside our base table. So device ID, temp, heart rate, created date, and our average heart rate. And that has these additional tables on top. So these additional fields on top, which is the IOblend process time. But more importantly, it adds the slowly changing dimension. So it's also got obviously the data lineage data columns in there as well in terms of when it was created, which process created it. And it also creates a unique ID for each one which has been generated, data lineage ID there. But from a slowly changing point of view, what it does is it creates a from and to key for each of the records. So we have, so we can then access this data from a slowly changing dimension type 2. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I hope that was useful.